Hey everyone, it's Jonathan. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that today's podcast is actually a joint episode with Every Version Ever. We're starting a series on Peter and the Wolf. So if you're a fan of the story or the music and want more episodes like this one, make sure to check out my other podcast. Links will be in the description below. Hey everyone, welcome back to Every Version Ever. Today's episode is the episode that inspired this whole Peter and the Wolf miniseries. Last year, Sarah sent me the trailer for the subject of today's episode, a stop-motion Peter and the Wolf film, suggesting it as a potential podcast episode. We ended up recording it, but I had enough content to fill out last season, so it got postponed to this season. But in doing the episode, I got to wondering if there were any other versions of the story out there. Sarah and I had already reviewed Disney's version as part of our podcast on Make Mine Music, so I thought if I could find a few more, this could potentially be a series for Every Version Ever. And I found a few more. So before we get into the really obscure stuff, including a black and white puppet show from the 50s and an animated TV special from Chuck Jones, let's first talk about the short that inspired the whole series, a 30-minute stop-motion film from Poland, Norway, and the UK, 2006's Peter and the Wolf. Okay, Peter and the Wolf.
Now, what year did this one come out?
2006.
And we were sort of having a memory within a memory because I discovered it, but then we weren't sure whether you had discovered it first, but you were
If I did, it would have been years ago, and we only saw a trailer.
So it was fresh, and it looked interesting to me, and you grabbed onto it as something that you wanted to review, so...
Yeah, it looked really good and different and interesting. And also something that I could use for multiple podcasts.
It lived up to that and beyond, I would say.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's lovely.
So, the full title of this, I'm going to probably butcher the pronunciation, is Sergei Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf.
I think it might be Prokofiev.
Probably.
Sergei is a cool name.
And this was a Polish, British, Norwegian stop-motion film, although there was a Mexican and a Swiss studio that worked on it a little bit too.
But set in Russia.
Yes, I think it was Russia, because the writing looked Russian. And I think traditionally the story is in Russian anyway.
If we're wrong, just tell us. It's okay.
And this actually won the Oscar for the Best Animated Short at the 80th Academy Awards.
Probably totally deserved it.
Yeah. And there's no narrator, no spoken dialogue. The music was by the Philharmonia Orchestra in London. And when it was first released, it wasn't released like as a normal movie, like it just went to the theater. They toured it around, and the Philharmonia Orchestra went with them and played live.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's an experience. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very cool. Who does that anymore? Like, I could see... I mean, that's...
These days it doesn't happen very much, I'm sure.
I mean, that sounds so 100 years ago or something. That's very cool. Good for them.
And eventually they... I don't know if they did it before they toured or not, but they recorded the soundtrack too, so that it could eventually be released without having to have the band tour with them, the orchestra.
Go back to the silent movie era.
And I didn't write down everywhere that it premiered, but I wrote down the North American premiere, which was at the Mann Center for the Performing Arts in 2007, and then it was first broadcast in the U.S. on PBS's Great Performances in 2008.
I could see how that would be up their alley. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I think everybody is vaguely familiar with Peter and the Wolf.
You're more familiar with it than I am, because you grew up with the Disney one, and we reviewed that, so you all can check that out. But I've checked in with you, like, what actually happened in the original story? Mm-hmm. The music is lovely, and with this story they do take liberties, but they took some very interesting liberties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like It's one of those stories that, beyond the Disney version, I know the story, but I don't know exactly how I know the story. It's probably partly the Disney version, but I know there was other things in my childhood. Like, maybe we had an album.
Which it barely touched on my childhood at all.
Mm-hmm.
If any. I mean, besides my mother talking about it, I don't know. So that's nice that was incorporated into your childhood. I mean, it's a weird story. It's very, old country folk story.
Yes. Complete with a big bad wolf. Like a lot of fairy tales.
This one seems like it's set somewhere between the 1980s and today. Like, they probably just set it within the time period that they made it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what time period it was supposed to be, but I know a kid had a skateboard, so it wasn't the 1700s or whenever the original story was written.
No, they're just... it'll be interesting to unpack this because there are so many interesting little details. Like, the people who made this were true artists.
Mm-hmm.
Are true artists. Hopefully none of them are dead.
If recent enough, I would hope that they're still alive and kicking. The one thing that I really liked was that there was no dialogue, and when there was no music, you just had ambient noise, which I really liked.
They didn't try to jazz it up in any way.
No, yeah.
No, a really interesting blend of the old and the new.
Mm-hmm. It opens in a snowstorm.
I immediately, it's easy to like it almost right away.
Mm-hmm.
The mood of the storm, the look of the storm, and the grandpa out there keeping vigil with his gun, like he's an old predator himself, like nothing is going to attack his fortress. Come bad weather, come whatever. And one of the things that you think about is like, it is like they're in their own little fortress.
Because there's basically just the one entrance to the woods next to their house, but he's built this wall keeping everything out, but also keeping his grandson in.
And there's such a contrast because their inner world where they live, so much of it is sort of, I don't know, dark or shabby looking, and he looks out at the world and he sees the sun shining, and it's like he wants to be free from this prison that they're in. But at the same time, there's the contrast of, okay, the grandfather is raising his grandson. He's obviously already experienced loss, and it's sort of, if you think about it, this is probably why he's being so extremely protective. But yeah, it's a good thing to think about because he is extremely protective, and you see how this boy is having a hard time in life, being so sheltered.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, something that I thought of. In most versions, especially the Disney version, you have Peter as this happy little kid, and the music reflects that. Like, Peter's theme is really happy-go-lucky and high and fun.
It's like, this is a naive child, and the grandfather's like, boy, there's dangerous stuff out there, listen to me. Whereas in this one, it's like, the happy music kicks in once he's freed himself from the confines of his home.
That's what I noticed, because at the beginning, there's no music. Like, zero music until he gets out of the fence. And you just have him inside, sullen, glowering out the window. And it's like, this is not the Peter that you think it is.
On the one hand, I love this because you could watch this with anybody from a foreign country and actually get the story together. On the other hand, for instance, when his grandfather sends him into town to get potatoes, apparently, and the bullies come out of the shop and basically throw him in a dumpster, I would think twice about showing that to some children. Like,
well, especially the one points like a gun straight at his face, too.
Like, that was... Yeah, that it's disturbing. On the one hand, it sets you up for the story really well. But on the other hand, like, if you know that somebody's... if they're 7 years old and you think that they might be sensitive, skip that part maybe. Also, the duck gets eaten, so...
Well, I was going to say you know that going in, but if you're not familiar with Peter and the Wolf, you don't know that the duck doesn't make it.
And you definitely don't know about the dumpster, so here you go.
The bullies, though, I wasn't expecting... Well, the bullies are the hunters, because they have the hunters theme later on in the story. And they're just a couple of teenage bullies. Although the one, at the beginning, the first time I watched this, I was like, is that his dad? Why is he letting him beat up this little kid? But then I realized later, I guess he's just another kid.
And weren't there hunters in the original story? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
That's who these kids are. They just
right.
took the place of the hunters.
Yeah, probably teens or 20s, and they're, for some reason, incredible jerks.
Yeah. I don't think they'd be in their 20s. I don't think they were that much older than Peter was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. And they think they're so tough.
Yeah.
I liked the girl in the story with the long golden hair. She didn't factor in much.
Yeah, she was just an interesting background character. There was a whole group of kids that showed up in a couple of scenes. It was kind of fun to watch their reactions to different things.
But she was like the only girl, wasn't she?
There might have been another one, but she stuck out partly because of her hair and partly because of her pink coat. It was very bright in contrast to all the darkness around, and I think they did that on purpose to make her stand out specifically.
Yeah, they're probably going to end up together.
Sarah's fan fiction.
I kind of liked it that they made Peter's coat dirty.
Mm.
And you have these ganky old cars, this ganky city. Like, the city's not doing great. He's not doing great. Things just aren't great.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets done with the bullies, and he's back with his loving duck, because in this version it's a duck instead of a goose, apparently.
I'm not sure. I can't remember if it's always a duck or if there's a goose. I think the ones that I've seen, it's a duck.
Okay. At least in this one, he's a runner duck.
Yes, because I looked that up. It's specifically a runner duck, and they have a slightly different shape. They're like skinnier, taller.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the runner ducks. I am. To me, they're almost like the Siamese cats of the duck world. I don't know.
I could see that.
They've got their own thing going on. They're independent. They're fast. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one's very cute.
This one is cute. No, and it's very affectionate, and it dies.
Yes, very sad.
Because I thought maybe it would be like the Disney story and there would be redemption of the duck, but that was nipped in the bud pretty quickly.
Nope.
Oh, and there's this scene. Okay, we got to talk about the grandpa in bed. You pan. Okay, so Peter, he's sad. He wants out. He needs to go play. And so he's going to go steal his grandfather's keys because he has him basically bolted into the yard in a loving way. But the cat is snuggling with the grandpa, and it's so cute.
I love that cat, even though it's like slightly ugly and angry all the time when it's awake. It's so cute in a ferocious, angry kind of way.
It's lovely. Yeah, the cat is its own thing. But I want to talk about the bedroom, because there's so many little details that if you were to watch it 5 times, maybe you would still pick up on stuff. The bedside table that has the cloth on it, there's a little ashtray with cigarettes. There are bottles up on a shelf that I don't even know what those orange things on the shelf were. Like, there's a plant that looks a little bit sad up in the window. You have the cat hunting a fly. Like, there are so many little, like, whoever made this is familiar with cats. They know how to do all the cat things, from the chattering to the And then you explained to me that apparently the magpie had a broken wing.
Yeah, and I don't think it does in any other version.
But when he goes to town, the man in like the bear keeper. This is also the thing. The man has the bear in the tutu or whatever.
I think he like runs a circus or something.
Yes,
I don't know.
But he gives the boy a balloon, and
It's the most random scene if you don't know what's going on, because there's this hulking giant of a man wearing a purple and a big furry cape, and he's just staring down at him. And he hands him a balloon. So
Which
seriously.
is awesome. Which is awesome.
But yeah, he takes this balloon and he eventually the bird ties it himself somehow because the bird wants to fly again. So he's trying to use this helium balloon to get off the ground.
Yes. And so they go off on their magnificent adventure.
This is where the music kicks in once he breaks free of the fence, which I loved that little touch.
And then the cat is hunting a fly and sees them outside and joins them. And I love this scene because you're zeroed in on the magpie's bum and the cat is hunting the magpie, and it's so cute. Like, the cat is flexing her little claws and she's chattering and she's wiggling and she's getting lined up and everything, and she misses the bird, ends up breaking through the ice and gets herself out quite easily and with great dignity shakes herself off.
It's like, you saw nothing. Shake each paw individually.
And goes to hunt the bird some more, and then the bird poos on her face, and she looks slightly.
She looks miffed.
I mean, maybe slightly surprised and horrified.
I mean, the cat always looks miffed in a way, so.
The cat is great.
Yes.
And there's just something so, I don't know, there's something uncomfortable about stop motion, but kind of in an interesting way. I don't know, like Fantastic Mr. Fox. There's an atmosphere that's just weird. Mm-hmm. And this one has its own atmosphere that's weird. And it reminds me a little bit of the Czech Alice in Wonderland. Where, like, it's kind of unsettling but fun at the same time.
Yeah. And
I don't, well, with the other Alice, that makes sense why it would be unsettling. But with this one, I don't know. Yeah, it's very different.
I think it had a lot to do with the faces. Like, they didn't try to make people cute. Like, they made them interesting.
For the most part, there was at least one part where his facial expression seemed like more should be going on, like it was more of a straight stare. But then you switch over to another scene and just all of the really delicate eye movements, because his grandfather catches him, gives him a little smack on the bum, not hard, and gets him inside. Like, he's not harsh with him. It's just like, okay, boy, you need to come back in and be safe. But then you can hear the noise of the forest, like somebody's coming. And it's the wolf. And he has all of these really delicate eye movements as he's listening to this happening. And it was great.
I also liked that it changed to the wolf's theme before you saw the wolf. Like, it's probably not something that you notice if you're not familiar with the music.
But you're telling us.
But yeah, once he's inside and he's listening at the fence, the music changes and it's the wolf's theme. And if you know each animal's theme, or each character's theme, because the hunters and the grandpa and Peter all have themes too, then you know what's coming. And he looks out and the wolf is
I just knew because of the forest noises that they put with it. It's like the birds are sending off an alarm as he's coming. So yeah, very nice little details there. And here's the thing. If you watch the trailer for Peter and the Wolf, the wolf looks so majestic and kind of unsettling. And then when you watch the stop motion, he's so cute. We have, my family has 2 dogs, and one of them is a tricolor male with fluffy cheeks. And then this dog comes along and it's all dark with fluffy cheeks. And it's just, I just wanted to pet it. It's so cute. And crystal blue eyes and, yellow teeth.
I liked how they didn't make it hideous. Like in the Disney version, the wolf is ugly and angry, like most cartoons of that day portrayed wolves.
This is closer to life.
Yeah, it looked more like a real wolf.
It's not perfect in its appearance, but it's not.
None of them are.
But it's not ugly. No, it's very cute. Like I say, yellow teeth. But a cozy, squishy little face.
I also liked how it moved, like it's standing on the top of the hill, and then it sort of quickly slinks down the hill when it's starting to hunt the characters.
It's trying to hunt the cat, and the cat, of course, is all roly-poly and cute and gets out of the way. And the cat still wants to hunt the magpie. And Peter's trying to get the duck back, but that doesn't work out. And then Peter decides that he's going to have revenge on the wolf. And so collects rope and netting and heads out there, and so that whole dance begins, which we don't have to go into the minutia of that because you guys need to, like, watch it. But eventually, I thought the magpie was going to be toast. But anyway.
It did kind of seem like that, because he's, like, telling the magpie, like, you're getting this from his movements, like, go scratch up his face or something. And the magpie ends up going down there, partly by accident, and somehow evades death.
Which is, it's lovely that not everybody does. So he does eventually catch the wolf, and those nasty hunters are coming along, and it's like they get freaked out by the presence of the wolf or something.
I think that's partly it. The one tries to shoot at the wolf, but then the other one falls on him and makes the shot go off, and the cat falls out of the tree. And I wondered if maybe they thought they accidentally shot the cat.
I don't know.
And then they ran off.
Either way, they're jerks.
Yeah.
So the grandfather finally figures out what's up.
And he comes out, he's all shaking and holding the gun, and he's standing between Peter and the wolf. It was very cute.
I liked that they gave him a fluffy white beard. And I didn't see this next part coming because I thought maybe he was just daydreaming this. But he takes the gun from his grandfather, and they put it in like a caged wagon, kind of like a circus, I guess.
When I first saw it, I thought he took the gun from him because he was like, no, I will do it.
No, that's what I figured too. Like, I will have my revenge.
Yes, but
And I love the twist that comes because they take the wolf into town, and it's not fair, really, because you're thinking, okay, this wild animal is in a cage and they're going to just try and make money off of it like circus. And it looks like the grandfather is haggling for that.
Yeah, he goes to the guy who probably has a circus, the big balloon man, and it's obvious that he doesn't want this wolf. So then he goes to the furrier, and the furrier is like handing him some money, and the grandfather counts it and hands it back. He doesn't want, apparently he gave him a paltry sum. Then they're haggling while all the kids are gathering around this cage.
I also liked that when the grandfather was walking along, the cat was
doing
the whole I'm following you, I might trip you, I love you walk. That's so cute. But anyway, so you can see into the cage, you can see the wolf's not happy, but it's not being vicious, I don't think. But then the mean hunters come along.
And they're acting all tough even though they ran away terrified.
And one of them was pointing the gun in there. And I thought he was going to release the wolf onto the hunters.
I thought so too.
But he ended a rope and he caught the hunters in a net. And then, if you don't want to know what happens, just stop listening. This is where it gets cool. It's so unrealistic, but whatever. This isn't about realism. He releases the wolf, and he and the wolf walk side by side like respectful comrades or friends. And then it's like he sends him off into the moonlit night, and like he has conquered his enemies. He has made friends with the wild, and it's just so cool. I loved that, and the grandfather wasn't expecting it either.
No, he's like freaking out, partly because it's like, my grandson's gonna get eaten, and partly because it's like, there goes my money.
But it's like he's free now, because if he's overcome what his grandfather was trying to protect him from, he's basically become a man now, and he's free. He's free from all of his oppressors and enemies and constrictions or whatever. So it was lovely.
Yeah.
And yes, he's there with his tousled brown hair and his piercing blue eyes, and he has overcome all. And then he can grow up and marry the blonde chick with the flowing hair. And hopefully get a better car than what...
Yeah, they all drove old beaters. Like, you never saw any new cars in this, but I liked that touch.
It added atmosphere.
Yeah.
There's so much atmosphere in this.
Yeah.
And really the most beautiful, peaceful place is in nature.
Out on the lake.
Aside from the cat sleeping with the grandfather.
One of my favorite random scenes, I guess we didn't even mention, was when he gets the bird up into the tree and the bird just jumps and he's like slowly floating out of the tree because he had a broken wing and he can't fly. So he's just, and the look of bliss on the bird's face as he's slowly floating. I just love that.
That was another thing in the town. The bird has healed and is flying around too. So it's like, aside from the duck, things are well.
Yeah.
But no, like I say, so much atmosphere, so many lovely details, interesting twists to the story, modernizing it but not taking away the charming music and everything. So
I appreciate when they can modernize something but not make it feel too modern. Like it still has a timeless quality to it.
Sure.
And that's a hard thing to do sometimes.
No, they did such a great job. And while it doesn't seem like something that you would watch with adults, I feel like it would be a great thing to watch with adults just as long as they're open-minded to it. Maybe more so than for a lot of children.
Yeah, I could see a certain type of child liking this. I would have liked this.
Sure. And that's one of those things of, is it the adult effect? Like we talked about, when I watched Pinocchio as a child, it didn't bother me. As an adult, it bothers me. So I can't speak to how much of it would have affected me or not affected me. You know? So either way, it's lovely, and if you think the children can handle it, show it to them, and if not, have a party with your adult friends and theme it around, you know, Russia or Scandinavia or something, and have fun snacks and yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, this is a great little short. It's not even a full movie, it's only 30 minutes, so.
Yes, but if you pause stuff the way we do at our house, it'll take you probably an hour to get through it.
It might, yeah. I don't think most people probably pause as much as we end up pausing.
We can't be alone. We just can't.
Well, probably not. No.
Gotta go and get snacks and stuff and pet the cat. But anyway, 5 stars, A+, definitely recommend. And that doesn't happen with everything that we watch for sure.
Yeah. Definitely recommend this one. Especially for animation fans. I think there's so much interesting technique to this too that you'll totally get something out of it.
Even the way they did his little teeth. Yeah. Definitely watch. Okay.
Alright, I think that's going to be all for now. We'll see you next time, whenever that is.
Alright, bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Every Version Ever. If you like what you've heard, make sure to subscribe on your preferred podcast platform or to the Every Version Ever YouTube channel. Make sure to follow my co-hosts as well. Any relevant links will be in the description for easy access. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.